Hi all, this is Dr. Sage Breslin and this is Wisdom Wednesdays. This is the evening edition because life has just been rocketing by. I feel like consuming me. And on days like this, I often feel a lot more fatigued than normal. And it seems like when I'm exhausted, I am triggered to worrying about my cancer, worrying about whether or not it's, growing, whether or not it's active, whether or not I'm getting closer. And for the most part, I know that my labs have been pretty good. I'm not in remission, but I've been holding my own. I've been really lucky. I really feel like I've been blessed. And at the same time, I have a terminal disease. I have, a cancer that isn't all that interested in its chemotherapy solution. I have really tried to turn the corner this last year by embracing the fact that I was living with cancer rather than dying of cancer. But recently I've had a kind of a hard set of experiences. And, maybe it's just good for me to come out and say that it's crushing to have so many friends and colleagues and family members who have cancer. It's not that long ago, 2 years ago, that my own mother died of cancer. Last year, my father died not of cancer, of a genetic disorder, but shortly thereafter, I have another friend whose cancer returned and metastasized and is now really just holding on. I have another friend in a very similar situation, thought that the cancer was sort of kicked into position and in remission, and then just not even 2 months later, the cancer was back, and it was back with gusto. And at the same time, it seemed like everything I watched, my favorite characters were being killed off by cancer. And more recently, being with a loved one who is in the end stages of cancer, where chemotherapy has been set aside because it's not working anymore. And why kill yourself with poison if it's not doing its job? And I think one of the hard things for me is that I am watching the dying process look so similar across the board. I remember my mom, at the end was just skin and bones. And, I just remember saying, like, I don't need to see the skeleton. I love my mother, but I didn't want to be present with the skeleton. I love my friends and my colleagues, but watching them take on that skeletal experience, that countenance where there really is nothing left but skin and bones, is so hard. And I think it's hard for a different reason than you might think. It's not that I don't want to see it. It's not that I think it doesn't look right. It's not any of that. It's an immediate recognition that dying of cancer takes on a certain look. When something is eating away at you, it eats away at you. It takes away the fat, and it takes away the muscle, and what's left is the skin and bones. And honestly, I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my family, my children. I don't want that. I don't want to be skin and bones when I die. I suppose that I don't have a lot of choice in the matter, but somehow I wish that, the peaceful death could be just that, could be the death of our childhood dreams where you just go to sleep and don't wake up. Maybe what we knew of our grandparents or great grandparents passing on was they went to sleep at, 94 years old and they didn't wake up. And most of the time, I live with this cancer without thinking about the fact that I'm dying. I don't think about those things because I'm engaged in life. I'm doing the things that I love. I'm being with my family and my children and grandchild and planning things and doing my work and the creative pursuits and loving all of that and thinking about the skin and bones is abysmal. It doesn't make sense to me. Why think of that? And yet at some point, I suppose I'll have to think about it. But right now, maybe I'd like to skip that step. So if you have friends or family members or colleagues that are suffering with cancer, perhaps you ask them what they want. Perhaps you ask them what you can do for them. Perhaps you make an offer. Perhaps you bring them distraction. Or, like some of my relationship with those who do have cancer, I am the one they can speak authentically with. I am the one that will respond with the real deal. But maybe figuring that out is an important step. I'm Dr. Sage Breslin, and my wisdom for the day is be yourself, don't hide, but don't immerse yourself in things that cause you to dive down that bunny hole if it's not really important that you do that. Have a great day or weekend wherever you are.